you doing? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? All right, so let's do the usual test. Ruby. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Yeah, let me know if you can hear me, and we'll start from there. So, gastric reflux under Uncle Steph has to drink the herbal teas now, because that's what happens when you're 170 years old. All the pleasures of life are slowly stolen from you. So coffee I have to limit to very minor amounts now. So can you yeah, let me know in the comments first of all if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Let me know before I get into it. All right, turn this down a bit. Yeah, Ruby clear. All right, very good, of course. Okay. We'll start with the first question. Now, what do you think of service workers and progressive web apps in the front end? Only implement progressive web apps. Only implement a technology if the project demands it. I'm not someone who says, okay, I have a neat, cool new technology. Let's just jump into it. Let's use it. So whether I want to get into service workers or whatever technology, I would basically just be letting the project dictate that. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, good. So see where everybody's from. Hold on. Let's start it up. All right. So I've gotten permission from Pare to continue. We're going. Hey, Heli's from Cebu, Philippines. So yeah, let me know in the comments below where you're from. Say yes, Cebu from the Philippines, etc. Hello, how are ya? I don't want to wait 3 to 5 years to get my BS and CS, but I want to work for Boeing. What should I do? Well, first thing you do is you check up the Boeing website and you see what the requirements are. Maybe make some inquiries on LinkedIn. Start talking to people who work there. See what they tell you. See what the requirements are vis-a-vis Boeing, right? Anyhow, so all right. Hey, thank you, appreciate it. What's going on? What's up, Steph? I can hear you loud and clear. All right, cool. So I got this mic here. I decided to pull it out. I think for this type of situation where I can move around and I don't have to be on top of the mic to necessarily have you hear me clearly, I think it's good. Okay. What is a good salary for your first coding job full time? Yearly salary. Well, that depends where you live, right? If you live in New York City, that would be one thing. If you live in Ohio, that'd be another thing. If you live in the Philippines and in a major city, that would be, depends where you live. That said, for your first job, it's your first job. So when you're getting your first job, I would care less about the salary, because the whole point of the first job is just to gain some experience that will become super valuable. You have to think of your first job as a developer as your stagiaire work, as your first, this is where you have to think of the first job as the stagiaire work. This is where you gain a lot of experience and knowledge. When you hire for somebody for the first job, it's a bit of a burden on the employer most of the time, because they're going to have to train you up. Oh, by the way, what do you think of these rotating cameras? Is it annoying, or is it add something? I think it's a little fast maybe. Eh? Let's slow that down. Yeah, we'll slow that down. See how that goes. Did I take? Yeah, I took. All right, good. So let me know what you think when we continue. Loud and clear. That mic is really good, quite sensitive. Yeah, there's three broad classifications of microphones. This is called a condenser mic, which means it's very sensitive and it picks up a lot of sound, but it will pick up a lot of room noise. Another type of microphone that's very popular, I have several, is called dynamic microphones. And they're less sensitive, so they block out a lot of room noise. So they use that a lot in radio. So this is not necessarily ideal for this situation, but I'm using a lot of processing. So, and it makes this work. Anyway, little nerd stuff for you there. Greetings, Carlos says, greeting from Mexico. I'd like to hear your videos to practice my English. Ah, very good, Carlos. I'm from Canada, and apparently Canadians are highly sought after to teach English because our English is very boring. That's what I'm told. Very understandable and boring. All right. You don't mind putting the thumbs up, everybody? I would appreciate the thumbs up. Yeah. Hey, Anissa, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. My old energy is finally coming back. And so, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks. I hope everything is well with you. Hello, Uncle Steph. What's better in the future, data analysts or web development? Web development, because data analytics will become something that an AI will be able to do much more efficiently. Whereas web development, AI won't be able to do for quite a while. So I would definitely be doing web development. When you're evaluating technology that would, or jobs that would be replaced by AI, let me get this in place. When you're evaluating that, you got to look at any type of job that requires the person executing the work has to get information from here and there, here. And it's not all digital, that's a safer job. But if data analysts are just crunching data, that's where an AI could really do well. So yeah, I'm always of the belief though that in general, you should aspire to build things rather than maintain things. Builders are far more valuable than maintainers. I hope that makes sense. Let me get this tea over here. Yeah, keep the questions coming. Small group. I appreciate the thumbs as well. A little group tonight. Add it to something. Loving the cameras. Oh, cool. Thank you. Nice production. I like the rotating cameras. Cool. I'm trying to pick it up, Trying to pick it up. Thank you. I always wonder who outside of Quebec understands the expression stagiaire work. That's a good point. Well, stagiaire is a French word for people who don't know. Stagiaire is the English term. So I think it's one of those words that they're pretty much the same, French and English. Yes, the third type is, of course, the ribbon mic, which I don't think too many people use because they're very sensitive, apparently. I never used a ribbon mic, so I don't know the characteristics of them. I graduated with a BS in CS 2 years ago and having a hard time, let me put this back on, having a hard time not only getting interviews, but also passing tech interviews. Any advice? Yeah, I would go out there and do a couple of little freelance projects for people, get your hands dirty with code. The number one thing that prospective employers are looking for in developers is real world experience. So you got to get out there and do that. Research the companies. You should watch my back catalog. I've covered this in previous videos on YouTube where you can see our details, a bunch of steps that you can take. Hello, Pablo. I hope everything is good. All right. What's going on? Ibrahim Abu Ghali. I hope I said that properly. Hey, Steph, do you think gaming and anime are a waste of time when you are in the phase of learning to code? You got to balance things in life. If you like anime, gaming. Ooh. Yeah, becoming a professional gamer or just random playing Call of Duty or something and watching animes. Having fun is cool, and you gotta relax. That's why I say when you train, like even people in my boot camp, I say 4 days a week, 5 days max. Take some days off, relax. You need downtime so your brain has a chance to deal with all this new information you're giving it. So don't play too many video games. Hey uncle, how are you? I have a question. I learned HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, React, and I make an e-commerce site on Fiverr clone for my portfolio and know some 3JS. Am I ready for a junior dev job? You're ready if you're comfortable building these things. So build up your portfolio. Did you build? It's not clear to me. I learned and Fiverr clone. Oh, so you made a Fiverr clone. So what you want to do is you want to go out there and do some stagiaire work. Basically, do 1 or 2 little projects for free so you can get some real world experience working on a real project. That's such an important thing. That is such an important thing. All right, how are we doing here? Steph, can you explain the model view controller concept? Yes, model view controller is a design pattern. Design patterns are set ways in which developers have figured out how to structure code. It's a pattern, a design pattern. It's it's like a pattern, but it's a software design pattern might be a better way to understand it. So there are many, and people have invented many, but MVC, Model View Controller, is amongst the most important, arguably the most important ever invented. It was invented for a language called Smalltalk. Anyway, Model View Controller design pattern separates a typical app, whether it be a web app or a typical classic thick client app, into 3 components. It divides it into 3 components. You have the model, which is all the logic, database logic. It could be business logic for the app, et cetera, et cetera. It's all the heart and soul, if you will, the brains of your application. That's the model. The view is, of course, the screens that you see, whether it be an iOS app or a web app. It's the screens that you see. That's the view. And the controller is that middle layer of code that handles the communication between the model code and the view code. So the idea behind that is that you separate the work into those 3 logical components, model, view, controller. And why do you want to do that? It helps you better organize your code, helps you to distribute the workload. So let's say you have several developers, you can put one guy or a girl on the model code, another person is good with views, with visual coding, put them on that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing is that if you design your code properly, in Model View Controller as part of it, you can reuse some of that code, except for the controller. That middle code, the controller, that usually goes in the trash. But if you're good at creating your model code and your view code, that is potentially reusable. I hope that makes sense. Cal says, I spent a long time with my mentor really strengthening fundamentals, and now I'm picking up frameworks. So, Svelte because I love it, or React, let me just refresh that, or React to get a job. You know, you got to pay attention to the job market. I'm telling you, you really learn a lot when you actually get a job. So my focus would be to get a job. So I would look to see what are the job opportunities for Svelte and job opportunities for React, and move accordingly. So let's say you find that there's a lot more React jobs, a lot more possibilities there. It doesn't mean necessarily you won't get a job with Svelte, but maybe you could do like a 70-30 split between React and the other framework. Hey, Ibrahim, how are you? Thank you so much for sharing. Kind of spelled my name correct. Kina spelled my name correct. So I said your name correctly? Okay. My school teacher told us we could build the next World of Warcraft on Scratch. You can understand the confusion when all we could do was make a cat spin around. Yeah. I think your teacher just wanted to get you excited. Should I go? Hey, 0. All right. O says, should I go to a low-level programming since I program C at university and web at night? Depends on what you want to do. It depends on the job opportunities. That's what I would say to that. Will AI take over front end in the next 5 years? I don't think it will take it over. As a big part of front end is the coding aspect of front end is really a small part of it. Its usability and UX are a large part of it. I think the process of building front ends will be far you'll be far more productive leveraging an AI. You have to look at all these AI tools as assistive tools. They're there to help you. They speed up the process, okay? Casey, you said in one of your videos that you try to teach people what you would want to see in a prospective employee. Can you give an example of how your teaching differs from other stuff out there? Good question. Well, first of all, I have a training platform that we developed from scratch. So it's not just videos. It's videos, interactive quizzing, gamification, instant feedback, instant out. This is a huge differentiator between anybody else I've seen out there. You've seen some platforms where they'll have like 1 or 2 questions every now and then. For me, every single lesson has quizzing and code challenges. Why? Because interacting with the material is very, very important. And that's where that comes in. So number one. Number two, it's just the structure of my curriculum, my courses. I've been coding since '94, so I teach what I know you need to know to get to the next level. That's pretty much it. So you have to, it's too long to get into here because hundreds of lessons, right? Over 1,000 quiz questions. But you just have to trust that somebody with my decades of experience, I know what you need to know, you know. And then there you go. But you can call me whatever you like if my name is hard to spell. Man, don't worry about it. Marcelo says, what do you think about ChatGPT? I spoke about this in a few videos. Bottom line is I think ChatGPT is a tool to leverage. It writes code, but it doesn't necessarily write perfect code. It will speed up the process. At the end of the day, you really have to know what you're doing. You have to have a base of knowledge. Once you do, then ChatGPT is it's like a plumber who can, or a construction worker who gets a power tool. You know, you still need to know what you're doing, but if you have like a nail gun, boom, 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 you can get things done a lot quicker. So it does not replace coding and coders. It just speeds up the process. Pablo says, I'm using ChatGPT for practicing live coding exercises. I ask it to explain me a topic in Python, then ChatGPT will tell me a set of instructions for me to write. For me to write the code and evaluate it after. Yeah, that's very good. That's exactly what you should do. That's it. Hey, Steph, do you think Flutter Web will change the future of web development? Flutter Web will change? No, I don't think so. QBC1, there's nothing wrong with Flutter. Flutter's good. I like Flutter, but I don't think it's going to change anything. Your lighting is spot on for your multiple camera views. All right, appreciate that. And this one's a little bright thing. Hold on. All right, there we go. What do you think of PHP Slim Framework and MariaDB as a stack for backend? I've never used a Slim framework, so I don't know much about it. But PHP is the king of freelancing. If I was building an application for a small startup, I would be using a web app. I would be using PHP for a number of reasons. MariaDB is cool. They're all good. I'm not typically for or against any particular technology. People who watch my channel, I see them all as tools. I have my preferences based on experience and based on my personal biases, I suppose. But I've seen great apps produced in all these different languages, so I wouldn't be too concerned. Hey man, what's up? How long do you normally stream for? It's usually 45 minutes to an hour. 45 minutes to an hour. Have you ever worked before in automation? No. My brother likes you, by the way. I appreciate that. Cool. Glad he likes the streams. Greetings from Barbados, sir. Hope you are well. Hope all is well with you and yours. I'm brand new to this world, and it is interesting. Can you tell me 2 courses I can purchase from your website to get entry-level work? Just take my complete web developer course. See the links below. It's like $39. It's got tons and tons of lessons. Try that. That will get you there. Barbados, I've been there actually, many years ago. Nice, beautiful place. Beautiful place. I'm a beginner. What should I learn for back end? Depends what your goals are. Doesn't really matter. The most approachable is PHP, but I would say either JS or PHP, JavaScript or PHP. That's great. Thank you. Greetings from Suriname. Ah, very cool. Very cool. I second the ribbon mic. You do need a high impedance preamp for it to sound good. Yeah, I've never worked with them at Mr. B, so I don't know. This is a condenser. It's an inexpensive one. I have a super expensive condenser. Here's a little tip about microphones that I've discovered the hard way. Price doesn't necessarily mean quality. Once you get past a certain price point, like, I don't know, $200-300, the quality is really, to my ear, marginal, because when you use a lot of processing, and this mic has built-in digital processing, I'm not running it through a fancy XOR connection like all my other mics. I'm going right into the computer, and on board is the digital processor, 32-bit, and I got the compression on here, and I got the de-esser, and it's fantastic. Does the job. You should ask ChatGPT to write a script, one of your videos. If nobody notices, and AI knows how to write like Uncle Steph. Yes, I appreciate it. Everybody hit the thumbs. I appreciate the thumbs, everybody. If you don't know, I used to do streaming every day, but then I got a mild but persistent illness that knocked me off my streaming game. So we're getting back into it as my energy comes back. One of the things I'm finding that's helping with my energy, I'm starting to lift weights again. When you lift heavy weights, it really helps with your testosterone. It triggers it, and your energy starts coming back. So even ancient Uncle Steph is starting to feel the positive impacts of that. So I highly recommend that. Any tips on reading books, whether it is self-development, coding, finance, or business? So look in the links below. There's a few books that I recommend. I should expand that list. There's several other books. But yeah, I would check that out for sure. Links below. Naked Ape is a book I talk about. Anyway, you can find the links below to the books I recommend. Hi, Steph. What do you think we should stick to? WordPress, PHP, Laravel, long term. I don't follow the money, I don't see any of these things going away. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on the type of work you want to approach. They both have their pros and cons. Like WordPress people don't like working with WordPress, a lot of people, because it could be a real pain. You got to really know your ecosystem with WordPress. But on the flip side, there's so many people in business that use WordPress. There's a lot. So there's a lot of opportunity, especially if you're freelancing. ChatGPT is really bad in creating Python scripts for Rhino. Error after error, kind of funny. Yeah, I heard there's a lot of errors there. With ChatGPT 4. Oh, even 4. Okay, I was wondering about that. Because you got a free GPT, which uses 3.5, and the paid one is 4. So again, these are assistive tools. ChatGPT and other AI tools are there to assist professionals. Is there a good community platform to be a part of to network with other developers other than Discord? Yeah, you might get into Twitter. Like there's a guy, Matthew, he's a part of my mentoring program. He's a professional developer now. And he makes jump on the stream at some point. He has a pretty popular Twitter channel, I guess you call it, Twitter account. And there's a bunch of pro developers who hang out in these Twitter spaces and they chat. It's good to start networking with other developers in Discord and elsewhere. Build up your LinkedIn. Because if you make good contacts with people, your chances of getting hired will increase quite a bit. So you got to get out there and network a little bit. Good question. Thank you, Steph, for answering all my questions. Thank you. No problem. Any ideas on what I can build with public data sets from where I live? Any ideas what can I build with public data sets where I live? What kind of public data sets are you referring to? What technologies would you use to create a CRM like Salesforce? I haven't used Salesforce, but again, for me, if I'm prototyping a new tech, I'm using a light, nimble, whether it be a JavaScript node with some framework, or whether it be PHP Laravel, anything light. I wouldn't be using heavier languages like Java. I wouldn't be using J2EE. I wouldn't be using maybe C#.NET. But when you're prototyping a new application, you want to just get it out quick. So you want to use light, nimble languages. Steph, when you are, let me try that again. Steph, when you are creating a web app for a customer, how would you transfer the MySQL database to the customer if you design a website on your own computer? Oh, yeah. Well, there are scripts that allow you to do that. You know, there are little apps that allow you to do that. Now, how many tables do you have, right? You can do, you know what you can do? You just export your local MySQL database and then import it into the remote database. That's all. So you do a save or a backup and then you restore on the other server. I'm a developer of about 3 years, but recently feeling stuck and losing motivation. Any advice to get the passion back? I would maybe see if it's the type of development that you're doing. Maybe you want to pivot to a different type of development. It's not uncommon. People they switch up. You know, they try different things. You know, people have asked me many times, why don't you write Java anymore? I wrote Java for several years. I love Java, but I did enough. Time to move on. And that's not a diss on Java. It's just, you know, if you eat the same food every day, you're going to get tired of it. What resources do you recommend? Well, I recommend me, and I recommend if you're a beginner, Studioweb, but if you want to expand your knowledge, I would find a good Discord. I have a Discord, by the way. You look at link below, active Discord channel, about 3,500 members. Check out the links below. Join that and start poking around, you know. What should I know for React in 2023? How not use it? I have not used it in a couple of years and rusty. Well, just poke around the what's going on. You know, I'm sure you can just, you know, since you used it before, just, you know, download it, fire it up, see what's different, poke around, do a little Google search on it, you know. Best bokeh in the live stream. Best bokeh in the live stream game. Indeed. Yeah. Look at that. Bokeh is the blurry hand. Look at how blurry that hand is. Right, pretty good. Whoa. There we go. Get it together. I ruined my bokeh. Okay, there we go. Camera lost it for a second there. What's your opinion about leading global professional services company that still maintain legacy app development by a lot of developers up until now? Well, that's it. When you have a company, John, that has invested huge amounts of money in a technological infrastructure, big software, they're loath to break it. They don't want to rebuild it, because when you rebuild an app, to solve a problem, you typically will have new set of problems you have to contend with. So updating a system is especially a big legacy system, it's a non-trivial task, meaning it's a big job. And big corporations, typically, a lot of people go work for large corporations. They don't want the uncertainty of the startup. And so they don't want uncertainty. So they're very much loath to change anything. They just want a steady Eddie, slow, no problem. That's why. So yeah, that's why you see that dynamic, you know. That's pretty much it. Let me extend this a little bit. All right. I find the camera rotation low. Web Development Ninja is staring at code all day bad for your eyes as I age. Well, I always recommend you get a really, really good monitor. Very good monitor. Okay, Mad Max says use the 4. Yeah, ChatGPT 4. Is it possible to work as a web developer and mobile developer at the same time? i.e. build web apps and mobile client apps as well for clients. Yeah, for sure. Why not? I know people work for small companies, then they'll be doing web apps and then they'll say, we need to build something mobile. Go build this in native iOS or something. Very common. How much web development knowledge do you need for freelancing, and what do you think the future of Rust? So Rust is a niche language. I don't necessarily think it's going to disappear, but I don't think it's going to take over anything. So I wouldn't be too, so learn Rust if you need to. I consider that a need to nerd technology, something that you learn when you have to or you want to. How much knowledge do you need? You just need to be able to build apps and build simple web apps, simple websites, then you're ready to go. You don't have to be a master. If you're a very talented developer, you can technically do anything that you want, but if you're a beginner, I would stick to either web dev or mobile dev, but not both. Yeah, well, that's a good answer. If you're a total beginner, yeah, one thing at a time, but that could pass quickly. What do you think an AI as powerful as ChatGPT will be available open source? I've looked into Stanford's alpaca model. I think Elon Musk is going to drop a bunch of money and do that. He's concerned about AI and I think he said recently that he's going to put money in and start up an AI business. So there's an opportunity there. And it's going to be an open source AI. That's what he said. Last question from me. I am overweight, and you've spoken about needing to be healthy. I find it difficult to manage my time between learning to code, my full-time job, and exercising to lose weight. Casey, losing weight has very little to do with exercise. It has everything to do with what you eat and how often you eat. So here's some simple advice. Start cutting out all sugary drinks, sugar from your diet. Number one. Number two, start cutting down the processed carbs, the breads, the pastas, the cakes, that kind of stuff. Cut that out as much as you can. Even if you cut it down 50%, that's going to do more to help you lose weight than you think. And the next thing you want to do is intermittent fasting. So skip breakfast. If you start doing that, at first it's a little difficult, and you can go watch a bunch of videos on it, but you'll see that quickly enough, you'll see your weight start to drop. It's not about exercise. It's about actually diet. Exercise helps a bit, but it's more about diet and nutrition. So what you don't eat is more important. Don't eat those type of foods, and you'll start losing a lot of weight, and you start feeling better. What do you think about using Express.js Node? Is it okay to use with large-scale app? I know large-scale apps do use it. I haven't looked at Express and Node in a while. My problems with it at the time was I found that the package managers were kind of a show. I was going to use a nasty word. It's a little messed up. I don't know. They may have cleaned that up in that since then, but that was the thing against it I didn't like. And be healthy. Any recommendations? Yes, I gave you my recommendations. Start also walking. Try to walk 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Go out, get a coffee, get a tea, walk around. That will clear your head, make you a better coder. It will start getting things circulating. You want to start moving a bit, but again, to lose the weight, it's much more about avoiding the carbs and the sugars and intermittent fasting, giving your body time to rest and clean itself out. There's a lot of information out there on that for you. Hi, I'm currently living in Washington, D.C. and will be moving to Calgary, Alberta in a few months. What are the chances for me getting a software engineering job in Calgary? Right now, I am working as a test engineer. I don't know. I don't live in Calgary, so I couldn't say. But I hear it's pretty nice out there. I heard it's pretty nice. I've never been, actually. I plan on visiting at some point soon. If, let's say, ChatGPT is capable of replacing a dev job, do you think front-end or back-end would be replaced first? I think neither. I think algorithm writing, engine writing, I think that would be the first people that might find their work diminish. But the web is, because it's disparate, meaning you got different components, you got back end, front end, you got database, you got UX, UI to consider, configurations could be very tricky. I don't see ChatGPT replacing that anytime soon, not anytime soon. Yeah, I appreciate the thumbs. We got 70 people. If you can, we can jack up those thumbs. I would appreciate it, just so that the algos, the Google algorithms, know what's going on. No problem. Dark 7 EUs. Zeus without the Z. What are the most important considerations when designing a database? And what would be a good project to get started with database design? Well, database, it's like coding. You don't want to have information appearing more than once in a database. That's the first thing. You want to look at normalization in databases. So I won't get into it here. Just look at normalization in database. Remember, you don't want to repeat information. So if you're tracking user information, you don't have the same information about a particular user in two different tables. That's a no-no, big no-no. That's the most important rule. When you get more sophisticated with your database design, you learn to design it so that the queries will be efficient. That takes practice, that takes experience, because the way you design your tables will impact the speed at which the data can be extracted from the database. Usually extraction is more time consuming than adding new records to a database. So that's a big consideration, but you get better with that in time. But again, it's not terribly important for most apps these days because computers are just so fast. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, our servers weren't nearly as powerful as they are today, so optimization was far more important. What do you think about people holding two developer jobs at the same time? Ooh, yeah, double dipping. If you can manage it. Should I be impatient and apply now? I don't know. I don't know where your skills are. Yo, how you doing? Whoa, I did this by accident. Welcome to the stream. Trey Brown, hey man, I'm more familiar with building single-page applications as Java as a backend and AngularJS as a front. Okay, I'm not sure what the point is. I lost context. Sorry, I'm reading a lot of questions here. Yeah, Dable concurs. Your Uncle Steph is right. It's right about this food is everything. So let me tell you. Many eons ago, before many of you were born, so I got a blood disease, so they put me on heavy-duty steroids for about a year and a half, horse-level steroids. And I'm 6'2", and I ballooned up to 247 pounds, I remember. Because when you take a lot of steroids, you get big. I was super hungry. And it took me a long time to lose that weight because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand how to do it. But I finally understood it now. So I was 247 pounds. At this point in my life, I'm now back down to below my college weight. I'm now down to 185 to 187 pounds. I fluctuate. And guess what I do? I watch what I eat. I intermittent fast. I eat hardly any carbs. I do eat carbs, but very few. Hardly ever any sugar. Very little fruit. My diet consists of salads, lots of meat, fatty red meats, fatty lamb, and I feel tip-top. So I know what it is to be heavy and to lose weight and to keep it off for decades, you know? Hi, Uncle Steph. Can you talk about how to find women as a programmer? Apparently programmers are too nerdy for most women. Well, that's a whole different subject. You got to give what you get. That's what I say. Give what you get. If you're out of shape, you don't dress well, your grooming habits are not the best, it's going to be difficult. So if you learn to communicate well, you dress well, get yourself in slightly decent shape, then yeah, you'll be good. There we go. Why PHP is not loved like JS? I want PHP version of Electron. Yeah, well, PHP has a dark and sordid history. It was kind of messy, and that stigma just stuck with it. But PHP is very capable. Hey, how are you, Khalid? How are you? Hope everybody's well. This is the official salute of this channel, by the way. I borrowed this from Star Trek. Star Trek, they say live long and prosper. I say code long and profit. That's what the name of my Discord server is. Link below, by the way. I'm willing to move out for jobs. How often do companies offer a guaranteed length stay? So I can have income insurance basically and not lose money on travel expenses. Well, a lot of companies, they'll pay for your travel expenses. So you have to talk to them about that sort of thing. Hi, Steph. I'm new in tech. I'm learning MERN stack, and I'm from Pakistan. So here are not so much, are not so much jobs, so I want to freelance. Is it easy as a junior developer with no experience to start freelancing? Of course. That's what I recommend people do in my bootcamp. After they learn their fundamentals, they do their demo site, we review the site, we review the code, make sure everything's cool. Then I say, go out, do a couple freelance jobs for free. That's the easiest jobs to get. Once you do those three, you get a lot of credibility there. Now, what's going on here? People are dinging me. Oh boy, here we go. All right. This isn't a dating channel. Just start saying hello to more women every day and start small talk with people to get your social skills better. Yeah, it's good advice too. You should check out below Lizard Wizard KOMODO, my free automation course, which is going to help you with that. Check it out below, Lizard Wizard KOMODO. It's all about this. Is web dev jobs slowing down? I don't think so. I haven't seen data to suggest that. Yeah, I concur, man. If I want to freelance as a MERN stack dev, what skills should I know? Well, you should know the MERN stack, and you should have some basic freelancing skills, understand how to negotiate contracts, how to manage projects, manage your contracts. Clean architecture versus MVVM. I don't know, I would have to look at clean. Another aspect I've noticed when it comes to SQL databases is avoiding as much as possible migrations. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, migrations, and I've only done it a few times. I've migrated some pretty big databases from Microsoft MS, what was it called again? I haven't used it in so long. The Microsoft database, SQL database, and I migrated from that to Postgre, migrated to a MySQL. That can be a hassle because even though SQL is a standard, every database vendor, whether it be Microsoft or Java or Oracle, whatnot, they all have their different ways of doing things. So what I did, instead of trying to figure it all out, I found a nifty little app that did it for like $100. And I just went click, and it did all conversions and everything for me. That's what I would recommend. Hello, Lillian. Hold on. Did the steroids mess with your natural hormone levels? I imagine it did quite a bit. This was decades ago, so it did quite a bit. I did tons of prednisol, and I did danazol. I remember a lot of danazol. I got pretty angry on those drugs. Uncle Steph was on juice, Uncle Steph was on juice like John Bones. May God keep you healthy. Yeah, well, I didn't do it for performance. I did it to keep me alive. But yeah, I was on the juice for a while, and heavy duty juice too. I'm getting my master's this year in exploration, geophysics, petroleum, industry basically. Oops. But I really like coding web development. I am self-taught. What career should I pursue in your opinion? At the end of the day, you got to do what you like. do what you like, because if you're miserable at your job, but if you already got that degree, your master's, I would start pursuing the web stuff on the side, because sometimes things look greener on the other side of the fence until you get there, and see, start pursue, transition into web from your current job. So start making some bucks, get some money for your experience, for your education, and start working stuff on the side, and make that decision after, I say, 6 months of playing with the web stuff, and then you'll be good. All right. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the stream. What do you think about universities, colleges teaching coding? Should focus on your college, university, or learn online with some courses? Well, if you're paying for college and university, make sure you get what you need to get out of that. But if there's a certain particular area of coding that they don't teach you in the university, then go learn it on your own. Yeah, one of my cousins was drafted to a U.S. University college football team, a pretty good one too. This is a long time ago, and he said when he got there, to his surprise, everybody was juicing, and he said that to compete you had to juice, and the school knew that, and the school made it really easy. And actually set it up so it was easy for the students to do the juice and not get caught. So everybody's doing it. They all know they do it, and they all pretend they don't do it. That's the unfortunate thing, because that stuff is not something I would recommend. It's not good for you, and I wouldn't do it unless you absolutely had to for health reasons. Can you explain the concept of single-page applications? What aspect of single-page applications do you want? It's an app. See, traditional web apps, you have to load page A and B and C, and you would have to load the whole page. So you go from page 1 to page 2 to page 3. So there's a lot of bandwidth overhead. So with single-page apps, you just have to load parts of the page. So it's much more responsive. It's much quicker. It creates more of a traditional, what they call thick client app experience. In a nutshell. Also, can you talk about Spring Boot, jobs, future salary? Spring Boot will be around for years because it's Java, which is enterprise, and enterprise means big companies, and big companies don't like changing. So if they've invested millions, if not tens of millions, into Spring Boot-based applications, they're going to need people to maintain these applications. So yeah, it's got a future for sure. All right, how are we doing for time? All right, I'm gonna be wrapping up the stream. My voice is starting to give, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. When there were massive layoffs, was web dev the most laid off profession? No, it was not. If not, what is from the most to least laid off? Well, I don't have that exact data, but what I can tell you is that, well, the most laid off is going to be middle management types. People don't actually do anything specific. They can't really pinpoint their work. Like Twitter, they laid off 80% of their employees, and it's still running fine. In fact, and they're actually adding new features more than ever before. Most of those employees they weren't doing any coding. They were doing all kinds of other stuff that obviously was not needed. And that's what's happening with all Facebook. I talk about this. Did I talk about it in a previous video? In a boom and bust cycle that you see in the economy, during the booms, people hire a lot, and they'll hire a lot of people, but they don't really need to hire. And then the economy starts contracting. So companies like Meta and Facebook and Google and Twitter, they start letting go people that are not very productive. So that's why I always tell people, make yourself useful and productive in a company. You won't get laid off. Hako Steph, do you have any videos of your boxing days? No. I have some old videos on tape of me doing kung fu. White Crane. But unfortunately, do I have any boxing videos? I don't think so. Were you ever a NeoVim user? No. I may have dabbled with it, but I'm certainly not a user. I'm currently working on a front-end project. I'm creating a form to submit feedback. It's giving me how to get an API functioning. Should I just delete it? Would hurt my ability to get a job. Now keep working on it, keep working on, it could be, were you working with APIs? Sometimes the APIs are not necessarily easy to work with because they're badly created or badly structured. But keep working on it. Maybe try to find other APIs that will satisfy your requirements. But don't give up. You don't give up. Don't give up. Take a break. Do you meditate? Yes, I do. Not enough. I do meditate. Meditation is very useful. Why is meditation useful? Calms you down. There's many different types of meditation, by the way. I used to practice all kinds of different types of meditation, partly from my martial art background. I did yoga, mostly from my martial arts and other areas as well. So there's different types of meditation, different styles of meditation. They have different purposes. But one of the most important types of meditation is the type of meditation that activates your parasympathetic nervous system. And it calms you down, it de-stresses you, and will help you in many aspects of your life, including health. Igor says, I've been freelancing for years, almost never with signed contracts. Any advice? What's your thought on that? I always get contracts to avoid any disputes. The whole point of a contract is to be sure everybody understands what is clear, what to expect in this process. This way it avoids difficulties, everybody's happy. So I like contracts. They don't have to be complex, but they have to be clear. Clear about what you're delivering, how you're delivering it, what you're going to get paid, how you're going to get paid. Very important. I cover all that in my freelance course down below. A big part about being a successful freelancer is managing your clients and managing expectations. All right. Excuse me. I just joined your Discord. Well, welcome to the Discord. Discovered your channel on Sunday. Noob. Code Long and Profit. Welcome to the channel. That's the Boca game. There we go. Thank you for the value you provide. I can't wait to get started on your program. Very cool. Well, welcome to the program. And yeah, I do. This is fun. All right. I'm an analytics developer. I utilize Google Tag Manager and Adobe Launch. What is your perspective on these tech in the future? I never used Adobe Launch, so I don't know about it. Tag Manager. I've used it only fleetingly in the past, so I don't have any strong opinions about that. When do you expect, hold on. When do you expect the job market will be back to some type of normal? I don't know how bad it is now. It's really hard to predict economic cycles. Typically, though, recessions last, a year? So, yeah, that's it. But there's still a lot of people work during downturns. It's just the weaker hands get nailed in that situation. Okay, how are we doing? 55 minutes. Losing my voice. I got a couple more questions here. What are we doing here? I'm getting bored with web dev and kind of depressed about it, but I'm starting to get interested in low-level programming. The problem is, here in my country, 5 to 10% of the jobs and also pay less than web dev. Yeah, you have to look at these different things, Jump around, experiment. Sometimes it's better to do what you like and enjoy your job and do what you hate for a little bit more money. Keep that in mind. I have a physics degree and I work in programming. What are the pros and cons of either going into software engineering or going into nuclear reactor design? I don't know. I think, though, nuclear reactors are going to be the main source of energy going forward. It's the only, as far as I understand anyway, it's the only sustainable energy that doesn't put carbon into the atmosphere. So yeah, I think they're both good choices, but I'm not an expert in the nuclear. I don't know much about it. I don't know much about it. You clearly know much more than me. If you like nuclear reactor design, problem is they don't build new reactors because there's a lot of politics against it. But it could be an industry to keep your eye on, but I haven't looked at it too closely. Steph, I've been a pro dev for 8 months. I've read Design Patterns and Refactoring. Very good. Those are good books. Links below to those books. If you're intermediate level, jump into that. Hold on. What do you think are some good books or topics to study next? I want to tackle larger projects at work. I would, if you don't already know them, I would learn a framework. I'm assuming learn a web development framework, because frameworks are designed to scale out larger projects. That's what I would do. I would study a particular framework. You're welcome. Do you think self-learning CS is useful in the long term? Why not? Learning anything is good. You don't necessarily have to do it at school. I'm giving up on learning how to code and decided to be a Twitch streamer for better money. Could be. Is there any freelancing in general programming, not web development? Yes, there is. There is. Web is dominant, though, because freelancing typically means working for small business. Small business, typically, they have websites. There you go. All right, guys. How we doing here? Almost an hour in. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, thumbs up. If you have any more questions, you can jump on the Discord. The link's below. And yeah, you can also ask questions under this video. I hope you like the rotating cameras. Leave me comments about production, lighting, sound, what you thought about all this in the comments below. And there we go. All right. See you in the next stream. Ciao.